Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really optimistic and philosophical text called Human.pdf. It outlines this grand vision for where humanity is headed. The basic idea here is that all the chaos we see in the world, well, it might just be a phase, and a huge shift could be just around the corner. So let's explore what that might actually look like.
So, to kick things off, the author frames this entire journey with a timeless Cherokee parable, and it's all about a battle that's raging inside every single one of us. It's such a powerful metaphor, right? You've got one wolf that represents all our negative impulses, and the other our amazing capacity for good. And according to this text, this isn't just a nice story, it's a real reflection of a fight that's happening inside each of us every single day.
So, of course, the grandson in the story asks the million-dollar question, right? After hearing about this epic internal struggle between good and evil, he just wants to know, who wins? And really, it's a question we all face, whether we realize it or not, every day.
And the answer? Wow. It's really the heart of this entire explainer. The power of our choice. It's not about which wolf is naturally stronger, it's about which one we actively choose to nourish with our thoughts and our actions. This super simple reply just sets the stage for everything else to come.
Okay, so let's take that idea and zoom out a bit. What happens when it's not just one person, but a whole society that starts feeding the wrong wolf? Well, the author argues that when we collectively feed that wolf of anger, our internal fight just spills out and creates all the chaos we see in the external world.
According to the source, you can see this playing out really clearly in politics. The argument is that it's drifted so far from its original vision. That ideal of a government working for the people has, in the author's view, been totally replaced by just endless fighting, gridlock, and this deep-seated hatred between the parties.
Now, the author doesn't pull any punches here. They use some really strong language to describe a style of leadership that, in their view, actually thrives on division instead of unity. The text points to a way of ruling that it claims just amplifies conflict, basically creating a political environment that's constantly on fire.
And the source connects this way of thinking to some pretty big real-world consequences. It lists several examples that it sees as the direct results of a political system that has basically forgotten about kindness as a core value. These are presented not as just isolated policy choices, but as symptoms of a much deeper problem.
Okay, so if the problem is a world that's feeding the wrong wolf, where do we even begin to find a solution? Well, the author proposes that we're looking in the wrong place. The real work isn't about fixing the external world first. It's about taking a journey inward.
And to really drive this point home, the author tells another powerful story, another parable. It sets a simple scene. A jeweler, who everyone knows is carrying a priceless gem, agrees to travel with a notorious thief. You can kind of see where this is going, right? The stage is set for a heist.
So, for days, this master thief is completely stumped. Every single night, he's turning their shared room upside down. He's looking in the jeweler's bags, under the bed, every hiding spot you can imagine, but the gem is nowhere to be found. Absolutely nothing.
Finally, at the end of their journey, he's totally defeated. His curiosity just gets the better of him. He confesses who he is, and he just has to ask the one question that's been driving him crazy for days.
And the jeweler's reply. This is the whole point. He says, "I hid it in the one place I knew you would never look, under your own pillow." And boom! That brilliant answer is the author's central idea. The most precious thing we're all looking for is hidden in the very last place we'd ever think to search, inside ourselves.
You see, the source is arguing that you can't think your way to this kind of truth. It's like what Einstein is quoted as saying here. The endless noise in our heads, the constant analyzing, it actually stops us from finding what's already there. The answer isn't in more thinking, but in less.
So let's put it all together. This jewel within, that's the author's term for our true nature. Pure kindness, love, patience, all that good stuff. The big takeaway is that we spend our whole lives searching for this treasure outside of ourselves when it's been right here, hidden inside us, the entire time. It's not something we have to create, it's just something we have to uncover.
All right, so what happens next? What happens when people actually start to uncover this inner jewel? Well, according to the source, it doesn't just stay inside. It sparks a revolution that creates what the author calls a new human. And we're not just talking about feeling good on the inside. The author is making a huge claim here. This internal shift leads to practical, tangible changes out in the real world. Finding that jewel within is like the first domino that triggers a chain reaction, reshaping our whole society from the ground up.
And you can see this across the board. The author envisions this complete overhaul of, well, pretty much everything, from society to sports to even our health. It's all about replacing systems that are based on conflict and ego with ones based on kindness and inner balance. So, in this new world, healing is about restoring harmony, not just fighting a disease.
This vision really shows you the author's ultimate goal. It's a society where the biggest, most foundational problems we face today have just vanished. And the key, according to the text, isn't more laws or more enforcement, but a fundamental change in the very nature of humanity itself.
Okay, now this is where things get really wild. If you thought a world without crime was a big idea, you might want to buckle up. The author takes this whole concept and scales it up to a cosmic level. The vision gets way, way bigger.
So check this out. The author lays out this epic timeline for our species. We start where we are now, kind of teetering on the edge. Then comes this great shift, where we move from a me mentality to a we mentality. Fast forward 1,000,000 years, and we've solved everything. War, crime, you name it. And then, 10 million years from now, we're helping seed life on new planets. I mean, talk about a long-term vision.
And to ground this huge idea, the source brings in Carl Sagan to remind us that this cosmic connection isn't just some poetic fantasy. We are literally made of star stuff. It's a scientific fact. We came from the cosmos, and the author is arguing that maybe that's where we're headed back to, in a way.
And that brings us to the final, really powerful question that the text leaves us with. It connects our deepest past to our most limitless potential. The source seems to suggest the answer isn't out there looking for solutions, but in finally discovering the universe we've been carrying inside us all along. So the real question is, which wolf will we, as a species, choose to feed?